Hi guys and welcome to Horologique. Today we are going to be talking about the upcoming AliExpress sale running from the 22nd to the 26th of this month. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm a bit confused about the upcoming AliExpress sales. There was one supposed to be starting on the 28th, the end of summer sale. Now there's this one called the back to school sale. I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, I'm going to be speaking to you about the one starting on the 22nd because that's the one we are certain about. The first thing to note, the discounts are very minimal compared to previous years. I think they're capped to $9, which is really not a lot, so do accumulate that with the coupons and everything that you can. That is pretty much what I have done, what I present the prices to you here. And you know the drill. You can start putting the items on your shopping carts right now, and when the 22nd comes, you can just go ahead and get that extra discount. A little bit of commission will be paid to my channel to allow me to keep on running it. So thank you very much if you... I've been doing this kind of videos for pretty much 2 years, even over 2 years. So there are some watches that I end up recommending to you all the time. And these are the usual suspects that I have called. And here they are. I'm not even going to mention them. I have reviewed every single one of them. And here they are with the prices to which we're going to be discounting. Of course, you can find them all in the description below, as any watch in this video actually. But we are not going to be talking about those in this video. We're going to be focusing on 7 new watches. Some that are new releases, others that are not as new but that have somehow passed me over, but that is going to be corrected today. First on the list is going to be the amazing Seagull, and I'm going to read this to you. The reference is 819.93.6098. I'm going to call that the Jade disc. There are 3 versions. The dimensions here are 39mm in diameter, by a very slim 9.5mm in height, by 48.3 in lug to lug, by 20 in lug width. Take a look at that amazing dial, definitely the star of the show here. I of course chose the Jade disc version, and that Jade disc where the hour numerals lie is surrounded by a 3D disc, and that third disc is semicircular. It has a lovely 3D effect. You have to see it to believe it. Covering that amazing dial, you've got a piece of flat sapphire crystal with, I believe, a bit of anti-reflective treatment. The case is nothing to write home about, all polished, but pretty well done. When you flip the case, you do get to see the movement, the ST17, which is pretty well decorated, but it's non-hacking and non-hand winding, sadly. And that's going to be my first negative. My second negative is going to be the hands. They are pretty simple, but again, it's a false negative because they are there just to indicate the time and not to be too obtrusive when you're looking at that beautiful dial. During the sale, it's going to be coming at $138, which is very good for this original design watch from an established brand like Seagull. Next on the list is the Escapement Time homage to the King Seiko, and I really have to hit myself on the hand here because I've had this watch for ages. Wherever it was hot, I had it, and I was just a little bit too lazy to review it, even though I was very impressed when I got it. This watch is amazing for the money. We are talking $74 here. And for that, you get a watch either in 40 or in 35mm with splendid case finish. I mean, just look at the shots in here. The polishing on this case is amazing. Granted, there's no brushing, but there's no need. This is pretty much a dress watch. The hands and markers are extremely well finished, polished as well, and the second hand is according to Escapement Time, and that would be just ridiculous for the amount of money that they're asking for, thermally blued. There are some multicolored dials, but the one I prefer the most is going to be this cream dial. The amazing value here is achieved because in here you've got a quartz movement, but don't go away. It is a Seiko VH31 movement, which means that although it's a quartz, it does tick 4 times a second, giving the impression of a vintage mechanical watch. You even have a screw-on crown, and I believe you've got 50 or 100 meters of water resistance. I'm gonna check that. On the negative points about this watch, on the lower part of the dial you've got a quartz text in there. I mean, what's the point of putting a movement that makes it resemble a mechanical watch and then say that it's a quartz? And then, ever since its release, this watch has gotten some competition. Specifically the Cameri, which is even less expensive than this watch. I do not know if it is the same quality. I think there are some other reviews that can tell you that, but I've got this watch and I can tell you that for $70, it is incredible value. At number 3, we've got the Sugess Chronograph. I just have them all here. I'm just checking them one by one. This is an original design as well. It does have the amazing Seagull ST1901 movement, the same that is present on the really famous Seagull 1963. The dimensions of this watch: you've got a 40mm case, you've got a 13.7mm in height, you've got a beautifully domed sapphire crystal, you've got a pretty large 50.3mm in lug-to-lug, pretty large for a 40mm watch, and you've got a 20mm lug width. The plus here is, of course, that amazing movement, and here you've got the swan neck regulator one for the $191 that they're asking. That is already something. You've got that amazing highly domed crystal. When you do have this watch in hand, you can see that it is high quality. The pushers, the crown, the finishing of the case, the sub-dials of the dial itself, it is a high quality watch. Higher quality than many of the 1963 variants that I have seen. You also have some interesting colors in here. You've got a salmon dial one, you've got a green dial one that I was very tempted to pick, but I ended up picking up this one, staying safe. And you even have some lume, and it's not bad at that. On the negative sides, I would say that it's a bit large, and that it even, with those lugs, it tends to overhang on the wrist. So make sure that you've got the wrist for it, or that you're okay with a little overhanging. At number 4, a watch that I have had for many years, I believe, over 2 years, and that I have not reviewed, or not directly. It is the Saint Martin SN0068, which is a homage to a famous Seiko, and I have already spoken about this watch on a previous video, but with a different dial. I spoke about the one with the Kanagawa wave dial, this is the one with the mother of pearl dial, and this version just allows you to look at the refinement of this watch. It is, for the price, coming right under $200, I do believe that it's one of the best values that Saint Martin have made to date. It is quite underground, it is like not a big seller for Saint Martin, but when you check the quality of the finishing, the brushing on the case, and especially of the hands and the indices, you've got the same quality in here that you've got on Saint Martin's worth 2 times more. The bezel rotation is amazingly good. I'm not even saying for a watch of this price, it is just plain good, that's all. And that mother of pearl dial, it is very deep blue. You can only see it under some lights, but when the light hits it right, it shines beautifully. You also have extremely good lume that Saint Martin is really famous for. On the negative sides, you only have a Seiko NH35, and once again you've got uneven branding, meaning that you've got an applied Saint Martin lettering on the dial, but you've got the hexagon on the crown, and at least on the version that I have, you have no branding on the back. Continuing with the selection, we've got a premium Pagani here, the Pagani Design 1723, and this is a quite recent release. I say premium Pagani because the finishing, the quality, is pretty exceptional for a Pagani. I wouldn't say it's at the level of a Saint Martin, but it gets pretty close, and you even have a PT5000 here. The question is, what is this watch? What is it homaging actually? According to the company themselves, it is homaging a vintage Air King 5500, which is a pretty obscure reference. On the measure side, you've got a diameter of 37, a height of 12.4, a log-to-log of 44, so small and compact, a log width of 20, and the bracelet, the metal bracelet, tapers from 20 to 16. On the plus side, as I have already mentioned, this is the most premium Pagani design that I have seen. On the brushing, on the polishing, I mean, check those amazingly beveled hands and indices. That does come at a price though, not extremely steep, but expect to pay around $147 for this one on sale. But be careful about that, because at least now they're only shipping via couriers, and that will cost you much more, so be careful of that. I'm going to leave the link of the least expensive total package. As another negative, this is a reference that not a lot of people know, so people who like homage watches because they want to have something that looks like the real thing, here the real thing is pretty obscure, so is that ever going to work? I mean, who knows? And then this might be premium, but you've got always the Pagani design cardinal sin, I mean the lume. The lume is not too bad, but once again, on the numerals, on those 3, 6, and 9, but on the hands, you only have a small amount and it disappears pretty quickly. Moving along, we've got the Pagani design PD 1662. This is pretty much the contrary of the one we have just seen, because this one is homaging a very, very well-known and very recent addition to a very, very famous Swiss brand, but the quality is just not good, guys. The dimensions are what you expect: 40mm in diameter, a height of 12.5, a log-to-log of 48, and a log width of 20. You've got an unidirectional bezel with quite bad clicking action, which wobbles quite a lot. The bezel insert is ceramic, but it has not been glued together where it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be glued together where the 3 and the 9 indices meet. Here you can see that it has been glued together below that, which is just a bit sloppy. And once again, the movement has just been flipped. So instead of feeling that you've got a true LHD watch, you only have a watch where the dial has been turned, and that's all. So the feeling is pretty weird. To wind the watch, you have to turn it downwards. So yeah, it's just pretty weird. Get this one only if you like the novelty, but I would not really recommend it. To end up on a positive note, let's talk about the Seagull Ultra Thin, reference 819.612, one that I got years ago and that I didn't get myself to review. Let's talk about the dimensions of this one, because that is the important part, I believe. You've got a diameter of 39, you've got a height of 8.4, you've got a log-to-log pretty compact of 44.7, and a log width of 20. The height being, of course, the most important part. I wouldn't say Richard Mille Ferrari thin, but it is as close as you can get when you pay this kind of money. Talking about money, how much you're gonna pay. During the sale, this one is going to come down at $133. And for that you get pretty good build quality, with a case that is fully polished, pretty well polished at that. You've got that ultra thin frame, of course, that's been its main selling point. You've got a sapphire crystal, you've got, and this is going to be one of the only negative points of this watch, you've got once again the ST17, like on the Jade disc. And also once again, non-hacking. And yeah, this watch is a copage. I was kind of hoping that it would be Seagull's own design, but no, it's a copage from a quite new and quite famous German brand. That's been it, guys. Thank you so much for watching the video. I really hope that you got all the info you needed. Thank you very much, and I'll be seeing you very soon. Goodbye.